Okay, so you should have opened and downloaded in Fusion. The standoff design's simple, and it should look just like this. So we're going to create all of the toolpaths to run on the Haas TL1 lathe CNC using Fusion 360. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure it's saved. So you're going to want to save it. And then you're going to click on the design, and you're going to go down and select Manufacture. You're going to get a whole new set of toolbars up here. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to indicate and tell it what kind of material, what size material you're going to use. So first, make sure that you're set in inches. So check your units, click on this little piece of paper here. And if you're in metric, that is millimeters, then you're going to want to change it to inches and set as default. But if you're already in inches, then you're good to go. You're going to click Setup. That's this little folder right here. Go to where it says Operation Type and make sure that it's set to turning. Automatically, it should create a cylinder around your material. Now, if you look, my Z direction, positive, is in the wrong direction. And my chuck right here is shown on the end that I'm going to be cutting. So those of you that have already cut this product know that I'm going to be cutting on this end. So I need to flip my Z direction. So you're going to go over here where it says flip Z axis, and you're going to click this checkbox. Now I see that my chuck, or the place that I'm going to be holding it, is on this end. And the part that I'm going to be cutting, the Z face, is going to be on this end. So here's where you can flip the direction of my Z axis. Now I'm going to go over to where it says stock. This is where you can determine if you're using the correct stock diameter, which is 3 inches, so that is correct. And then since we're going to be facing a little bit of this end as our first operation, I want that material, my starting material, to be a little bit longer than my finished product. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell the length to be 4.1 inches. So now you can see that stock overhanging just by a little bit. Make it a habit to always change this rounding up to 0. You won't see any change in this design, but in future designs, that can really throw people off. Go back to Setup. There's nothing else that we're going to change here, but you'll notice that the origin has been defaulted to the front of the stock. So that's going to be where we zero our program. But you could change it, and that's where you would change it if you needed to, but we're going to leave it right there. You're going to click OK. So you're going to see a silhouette or a shadow of our starting material, or our rough material, as well as the model inside. Now we're going to bring in our tool library that you should download from Schoology. So if I go to Schoology, go to the assignment Wall Mural Standoff, you're going to download this file. It's called WHS CNC Lathe Tools. I'm going to download it to my downloads folder. I already did that. In Fusion, as long as you're in manufacture mode, you should be able to go up to the Manage toolbar, and you're going to go down to where it says Tool Library, and you're going to open that. I have a lot of tool libraries, but you might not have any under where it says Local. You're going to right-click under the word Local, and you're going to import. Find your downloads or wherever you downloaded it to, and you're going to pick it, and you're going to open it. I already did that, so I'm not going to do that in this video, but you're going to open that. And then you should see, actually I will do that, because I named it different, so there it is. So now you'll see 3 different tools. Tool number 2, a right-hand tool, a neutral tool, tool number 3, and then a grooving tool, which is tool number 4. You can close this window. Now we're going to create our first toolpath. Our first toolpath is going to be a facing operation. Facing is what just removes that front material off of this. So we're going to go up under turning, and we're going to do a turning face. This window pops up with all of the adjustments that we can make to the toolpath. The first window is always your tool selection. So we're going to select a tool. Go to the WHS CNC lathe tool library that you just imported. And for this whole part, we're only going to use tool number 2. And you can come down here and you can pick the aluminum presets for surface finish, or surface speed rather, and cutting feed. We're going to select that. It's going to give you a preview of the geometry, as well as the tool location. I'm zoomed at the underside of the part, so I'm going to fix my zoom so it's as if I'm standing in front of the machine. You can scroll through these different menus, but there is not really anything that we need to change in any of these menus, because by default, most of the lead-ins and lead-outs are okay for what we're doing. So I'm going to hit OK. I want to be able to preview and see what this is going to do. I can see a yellow line representing the movement of this tool as it does its facing operation. But if I wanted to simulate it, I could right-click over here underneath Setup. If you don't see facing, I can expand underneath Setup, and you'll see the facing operation. If I right-click, I can go up to Simulate. Under the Simulate tab, there's a few different things you can change. I can turn on or turn off the stock. That's going to show me my rough material. And if I click Play, it's very quick, but it's going to show you the simulation of that tool moving through that operation. I can slow it down by sliding this bar. That's really slow. But you can also detect whether or not it's going to hit anything, and also the depth of cut. That looks pretty good. I'm going to exit. Now I'd like to do a rough turn on the profile of this geometry here. So I'm going to go up to Turning, and you'll notice that there's a Turning Profile Rough. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick my tool from the library. Same library, same tool. I'm going to pick aluminum, and I'm going to select it. It automatically detects the geometry from the model. Now, the only thing I need to change if I scroll through each of these tabs is on the 4th tab. If I come down here, it says Stock to Leave. As it cuts all of this geometry, it's going to do it incrementally. So it's not going to remove all of this material in one cut. It's going to cut it slowly, going a little bit at a time. But on its last pass, because I have this box checked, it's going to leave 0.04 of an inch in the X direction and also in the Z direction. That's because I'm going to do one more operation, and that's called a finishing pass. That finishing pass is going to clean it all the way up to the finished wall. So I'm going to leave this for now, but when I do my next operation, I'm going to turn this off. So let's click OK. You can see the preview of all the different passes. If you'd like, you can right-click and simulate it. Play it. Maybe speed it up a little bit. I'm going to exit that simulation. It looks good. So you remember, there is 0.04 of an inch of material surrounding the body of this model. So it is not finished. So I'm going to go up, Turning, Profile, Finish. And if you read that, it says, finishes the part machined by outside diameters. I'm going to click that. I can reselect that same tool, WHS CNC lathe, tool number 2, aluminum. Now remember, I need to go to the fourth tab, 1, 2, 3, 4. It says passes. And it already turned off stock to leave because it's a finishing pass. So that's pretty sweet. Thank you, Fusion. You're doing the thinking for me. I'm going to click OK. Notice if I were to right click and simulate the finishing pass, it's only going to do one. I'll slow that down. That was pretty quick. It's only going to do one cut because the previous operation, which is right here, has already removed all of the stuff that was in its way. So I'm going to exit this simulation. If I press Shift and highlight all of these operations, I can now simulate all three of them. There's the facing. There's the roughing. I'll speed that up. And then there's the finish. And each of them have been color-coded separately so that you can identify which operation is being simulated. I'm going to exit. And this is a complete toolpath. All that would be left is to generate the code that goes over to the machine, which we'll do in a separate lesson. I think this is about as far as we'd want to take it. So you would click Save. And then you would share the public link. To share the public link, you go up to the File. You go down to Share. You click Link. And then this little Share the latest version. Click on this box. And then you copy this web address. And you post it to the Schoology assignment. And that will be it. Thanks for listening. You guys are the best.